Here we go again. Another year of Call of Duty being a shameless cash grab while most of us are buying it anyway. And this year, it's a new Black Ops installment. Unfortunately. Let the series die already. I mean, I always used to say the games were stale and unoriginal back then, but clearly the older games are a goldmine of creativity compared to the nonsense coming out now. And this especially holds true for Zombies, which I feel has only become worse with every game after Black Ops 3. The campaign and multiplayer modes are more understandable, as their bog standard formula remaining largely the same between titles is to be expected. But Zombies is a special case, as it was its own separate world and possessed its own unique identity. But the moment you start Frankensteining it together with elements from other aspects of Call of Duty, all in the name of appealing to a more mainstream audience, is where I stop tolerating. Warzone really did change the entire trajectory of Call of Duty forever, being such a massive success every year since it came out, to the point where the main line of video games are copying its elements and style. And of course, the Zombies mode was inevitably going to get placed in its crosshairs to make more money, but in doing so, it ruined the mystique and ambition that Zombies had since day one, which leads us to Liberty Balls, the complimentary Zombies map to Terminus upon the release of Black Ops 6. Fans were quick to call out the tomfoolery being sold to them, and rightfully so. It makes Transit look like a masterpiece. Never thought I'd say that. It's nothing more than a Warzone map copy and pasted into the Zombies mode on top of the ridiculously overcrowded HUD, the armor system, the health bars, the kill chains, and the name tags. Yes, I'm aware that I'm playing Zombies right now, and that I'm currently shooting at one. And no, I don't think the biggest problem is that the map takes place during the morning or afternoon. Kino, Shangri-La, and Garad Krovi are all fantastic Zombies experiences that didn't take place at night. Tag der Toten literally translates to Day of the Dead. You can make any setting work if you do it right, and that's the problem right there. Black Ops 6 is not done right. It's a poor man's Cold War Zombies, unnecessarily shoehorning in all of these visuals and mechanics from other aspects of COD that nobody decided to ask for. Changing the setting to look darker won't fix the damage that's already been done. For example, let me reiterate that the HUD is ugly. It's too much and doesn't look like Zombies, but rather multiplayer. It's perfectly fine the way it is in my gameplay here. Clean and simple, no salvage, no armor or syringes, no weird gray boxes around my current gobblegum, as well as no awkward spacing between my perk icons. And I can guarantee you that not a single Zombies player has ever wanted and or needed a goddamn minimap for anything at all. Imagine if you had a schematic of Call of the Dead or of Griffin Station on Moon right from the get-go, or a big-ass radar at the top left corner of the screen when navigating places like the Witch House and the Hedge Maze in Buried. It absolutely kills the immersion. That's what made Zombies immensely terrifying back then. You didn't know what was around the next door or debris you had to buy, but at the same time, it forced you to speed up, since you had to find Juggernog ASAP if you wanted to survive. Speaking of surviving, it's basically impossible to die in this game, just like in Cold War. You can take 5 hits with no armor on before going down. Why? It was perfect in Black Ops 3, adding one more hit to your health bar from the previous games to make it more balanced. It was a buzzkill that you could only take 2 hits in World at War to Black Ops 2 without Juggernog, but now they've gone too far in the other direction. Not to mention, you start out with level 1 armor and have 3 plates in reserve on top of that. It's like if you started out with the God Mask on Revelations, and just like that, any and all tension is officially gone. It's a trend that started with Black Ops 4 Zombies, and I've hated it ever since. Then Cold War struts in, throwing more ammo at you than you know what to do with right out the gate. The only things you need are Juggernog, a shield, and your own skill and wit. Qualities that the people who write the storyline don't have. That's always been the one thing I've grown to despise about Zombies, the lore. I grew up with the Black Ops games, so back then it wasn't as noticeable. Blowing up the moon made me so excited in the pants I can't even put it into words. But as an adult, I can clearly see that Treyarch wasn't trying to make a cohesive, meaningful narrative, but rather search for any excuse to sell their newest game. The Zombies mode was created on a whim. It was nothing more than a beautiful accident, which is all the more reason why this world and characters deserved a well-planned and powerful plot. It's pretty obvious to me that they just made all this up as they went along, leading fans on with one cryptic cliffhanger after another. All that work we did just to blow up the Earth? My dad says he has a plan, actually. Well, that works out perfectly. We're going to fight the Great War, Eddie. Oh, And that's the end of the story. Yeah, if the drastic change in mechanics brought by Black Ops 4 didn't slaughter my interest in anything new Call of Duty Zombies related, then this ending definitely did. I was actually really digging the story in the beginning. Like, what would happen if the Nazis collaborated with a research group with access to this mysterious element to gain the upper hand in World War II? Finding the radios around Derice, listening to Maxis' slow descent into madness, Richtofen turning his back on Group 935 after going crazy from touching the MPD, finally finding out how the Hellhounds were created. It was all great stuff. Then they started putting more emphasis on time travel and multiple universes and space aliens that were the culprit for everything happening, ancient artifacts that have the power to completely change the course of existence. Ugh, like, come on, bro. I couldn't stand that bullshit in BioShock Infinite, and I hate it here too. So by the time Cold War came around, I had absolutely zero interest in the characters or why the zombies are here. Zero. The same applies to Black Ops 6. It's just a bunch of pay-to-win operators with their multiplayer kill streaks that take away the flair from zombies that the original characters provided in spades. You ain't no Takio, bitch. All of this is to say that the only reason I'm not skipping out on Black Ops 6 is because I know it's going to be the next big thing on YouTube, so it will help my channel grow. And I don't even have to pay for it for the first month, because the new PC I bought came with a free Game Pass, so that's nice. And just like what happened with Cold War, I'm gonna play it for a month or two, then let it rot in my library for all eternity. I'm such a COD Zombies cuck shill that I could probably find a way to have a good time with it for a bit, but the replay value will definitely not be there. I have no desire to go back and play 4, 5, and eventually 6 this time next year, but I could pop World at War through Black Ops 3 in any day. I know reactions like this are going to come off as hyperbolic to a lot of people, especially since we've been skeptical of zombies in the past. Everyone was dunking on Shadows of Evil when Black Ops 3 was on the rise, and now it's widely considered one of the best maps to ever do it. Many assets from most of the Black Ops 1 Zombies maps are reused from multiplayer as well, but the difference between then and now is, Zombies was its own thing. It had its own part to play in the COD mythos, and still had its soul intact before the Warzone pandemic spread worse than the virus that shall not be named. As many have said before, they're trying to appeal to everyone, and thus, they now appeal to no one. Call of Duty Zombies will never be like how it once was, but I personally don't care too much about that. Just let me have the original, real experience of the older games, as well as custom maps on World at War and Black Ops 3. At least the people who make those maps are actually in touch with what zombie fans want, not a bunch of baby boomers who scratch for every dollar they can possibly get. Rest in peace Yodi Slayer for putting me on to what an actual zombies experience is.